Coach, thanks for the time. Tonight is one of those games where you pick up a point, yeah, at the end of the day, but you kind of pick it up on the wrong end of it, where you surrender that lead in the third and came quickly after a goal scored. If you speak on your thoughts in tonight's game and unable to pick up that second point tonight.
We probably had our C game at best here tonight, which is frustrating because we had 3 really good days of practice, breaking down film, breaking down structure, giving these guys the repetitions and the time in practice to really work on things. And something that's frustrating with special teams wise was we spent a good amount of time this week on special teams. And, realistically at the end of this game, right, we have shorthanded, we have a power play, they have 2 power plays, so it kind of washes itself out, but it's still not, like, it still doesn't sit well with me that going 1 for 7 on the power play and giving up two shorthanded goals again, right? And we give up the first shorthanded goal, bad positioning. We give up the second shorthanded goal right after we score to take a lead. Once again, we're not in position. Like, we need some sacrifice. Like, give Adirondack credit for their PK. They sacrificed. They blocked a ton of shots. And we could use some more of that on our end as well. But overall assessment, like I said, C game at best for us. So, yeah, we are happy to get a point. I'm happy to continue to rack up points this time of the year, even when we don't have our best stuff. But already going through some of the game and looking at some things, we were very disconnected. We had some guys that unfortunately didn't have great games tonight. And there's just probably few too many of those guys on that side of it.
From that brief chance you mentioned, get a chance to look at some of the film from that brief look over, some of the initial takeaways you take from that film session and what you're looking to bring tomorrow with another chance against Adirondack.
Well, our quote-unquote fourth line with, Valerian playing forward, Master Seller, like those guys were our best line because they just worked and they played the right way. They managed pucks. They got above pucks in the O-zone. They played honest, hard hockey. They finished their hits. And not everybody else was doing that. And so first and foremost, as some of our pillars are, play physical, manage the puck, communicate, right? And that's what we've been doing successful lately, which has helped us, get points, win games, and be on this streak we're on. And ultimately, we just had too many guys with single efforts, not that second and third effort. We had a group of guys that just really weren't skating anywhere today. It was more of kind of a public skate, quote unquote. And that's frustrating because now we're 0-3 against this team on home ice. And, for a team that's down in the dumps, for a team that's battling, they played exactly how I said they would this morning, right? They outshot us, they outchanced us, and they gave themselves a chance to win, and they did. And there's no secret. And that's what was preached to the players for 3 straight days as well. And I even said it to them after the game. I was like, what did I tell you all week? What have they done? They outchanced us, they outshot us exactly like we've tried to explain to them. But I expect a much better response tomorrow. I expect us to come out flying and play a more complete 60-minute game. And that's going to be the message first and foremost. Once I review the film and break some more stuff down, we can identify things within our structure to improve. But as a group, there are things that we can control without even looking at film, and that's our effort level, our physicality, our puck management, all those things that we continue to talk about.
Can you share your perspective in the overtime, giving up a 2-1 through the other way? Just, it's a kind of learning moment, and if you had a perspective on the choice to go to the bench, trying to bring a fresh man on, always helpful, but at the end of the day, it gives up a shorthanded the other way, and they convert.
Well, no matter what happened in that situation, like, we weren't getting back. And we are not doing a good enough job in overtime managing our ice time, right? It's 3-on-3, and it's a long change. So if you've been out there and you're skating around for 30, 40 seconds, and we have an opportunity to change, we should. And give South Carolina credit last Sunday when we played them, that's exactly what they did. Pretty sure they had a 30-second shift change, got fresh guys out, and they ended up scoring against us. So, from a coach's standpoint, we need to be better at giving them some more details, giving them some more, structure the best we can in overtime, but it's also somewhat of a coin flip. Like, a guy could just lose an edge, and then all of a sudden it's a full 3-on-2 line rush, right? So I don't blame the player for changing, but we have to do a better job managing our ice time and finding a way to get that extra point in overtime, because now I think that's 6 overtime losses on the year, and those 6 points, they could possibly come into play here towards the end of this season. So once again, happy to get the point, but to find a way to get that extra point, we needed to start doing a better job of.
It goes kind of a parting word here with Keith Petruzzelli now with a point backstop in each of his last 5 games. Just from a coach perspective and one who's been able to connect with him throughout practices and see him, of course, much more than any fans can, just how rewarding is it to see it on your front, to see him have the record now start to show it. Todd on the broadcast by mentioning how the offense was not given the effort they wanted for Petruzzelli, and it showed on the record, unfortunately, but his play has now led it to that as of late, and how much you're looking forward to having him a part of this push here going forward.
Well, the great thing about Keith is he's a leader, and I've said that before in our conversations. Like, no matter whether we were winning, losing, whatever the case was, he's picking the guys up, he's cheering them on, he's trying to motivate and push them, and yeah, I'm sure his record isn't anywhere where he wants it to be either. But going back here a couple weeks to when we played TR at home, Vinny got knocked out of that game with an injury. He had to come in. He played really well the rest of that game to keep us in it and win. He played really good the next day to win it. And to me, he kind of got his swagger back there a little bit, and you could see it. And then he got recalled up to Lehigh here a little bit and got a game up there. Played well in the game. He did lose, but he played extremely well. And him and I talked through that game and talked through the goals against when he did come back down. But once again, he's just putting himself in a spot to make the right saves. He's making the big saves when we need him to. And, I wasn't here back when he was there with Newfoundland back in the day, but, he's a guy that can single-handedly win some hockey games just with his performance. So to have his swagger back, to have him leading the way he has, and now to see him get rewarded for it, it's well-deserved. So, we'll keep fighting and pushing in front of him. And, I have full trust in not only him, but the other goalies that they're going to give us their best performance every night.
Coach, thanks for the time. See you tomorrow.
Yep.